Today, we will learn to use specific processes in your genealogy life so we can work smarter, not harder. I'm your trainer, Lori Coffey. If you work in a team environment, in a volunteer society, for example, or in a work environment, or even in a family, you have to work together. A great example of teamwork processes is found in the country of Japan in the 1950s. American engineer, professor, and management consultant W. Edwards Deming, who invented total quality management, TQM, was tasked with helping the Japanese rebuild their economy after the war. At that time, Japan was known for producing cheap and flimsy toys. No one would ever consider buying a car made in Japan. Dr. Deming introduced them to efficient and effective processes and poignant sayings like, "A bad system will beat a good person every time." The Japanese ran with it and started creating their own processes, many of which have become world famous, like Kanban, which Disney co-opted. So we will explore some of those secrets. Unified goals. When you're in a team, everyone should have the same goal for the event or project you are working on. The leader should have a vision of what that goal is and then share it with everybody. Have you ever been on a team where everyone seemed to be working on different projects? I have. Not fun. Learn from your experiences and evolve your strategy as the project progresses. Just like DNA, learn and evolve your processes. Collaboration is critical to your success. No one is an island. I love to work independently, but I'm much better on a good team, and I'm much worse on a bad team. What a waste of time. Display big visible charts for updates. This is when you're in a team environment. No little to-do list hidden in a stack of paper on your desk. The Japanese call this Kanban, which means billboard. You can find them online too. Replace your to-do list with stickies that you can move as you progress. A Kanban is divided into 3 areas based on your project's workflow of tasks to complete the project. Those to do, those that you are currently doing, and those that are done. Really works. I've done it. Done is different from finished. Agile defines done as meeting the criteria for what makes a task complete. It usually is posted prominently in the workspace as you move the sticky from doing column to done. Finished means you will stop working on it for today, but it stays under doing. Done means you don't have to touch it again. Whether it's on your to-do list or your Kanban, know that the list of tasks will evolve as the project develops and the sequence of work changes. Then reprioritize as needed, because in your world, you are accountable. Now that we understand more about time management, it's kind of fast, isn't it? That's why I say you might have to look up some of these concepts to get more details. But now let's look at the next most requested process, organizing. And this request list is from genealogists. There are multi-day conferences on organizing, but I'll give you a process with many parts to steal as needed. First, declutter your workspace as we discussed earlier. Then post your organizing goal, deadline on your calendar, and the task to accomplish the goal on your to-do list or Kanban board. There we go, Kanban. That's a messy Kanban, but that's usually what they look like. In fact, I think that was mine. Next, take a quick audit of the types of files you have and where. Like in these examples, how can you organize it if you don't know what you have? Visualize what your organized workspace will look like with computer and frequently used office products. Space for papers or documents related to your A's. References within your view, which includes books and materials for the B's on your list. Supplies near the printer for toner, paper, and other work materials. Makes sense to keep them together, right? Your permanent filing system may be in another room for archival documents you will reference occasionally. And of course, your Kanban might be on your computer, but if it's visual, you might have it on the wall. Also, organize your electronics based on use. Label each cord. That's a big help, especially if you unplug them a lot. Use a surge protector for all electronic equipment. Consider a universal power supply or UPS with battery backup. Mine has a 3-hour battery backup on it. And external hard drive or cloud storage in case of technology failure or a natural disaster. Mine is 2 terabyte. That's the most effective and efficiently priced. Paper files like documents, photos, certificates, charts, reports, clippings can be stored in 3-ring binders with archival sheet protectors. Binder pockets can store cards and letters, memory, media, and other small items, or use a file cabinet with hanging folders and file folders inside. Here's a tip. Make the first page the family group sheet. And don't be afraid to write on the folder, especially the inside front cover, like contact information or relationship specifics. Whatever you use to put the files in, organize families by marriage surname, listed with the marriage date and residence location. Within each binder or folder, file items in chronological order, starting with the couple's marriage. Children go in the parents' folder in birth order until they marry. Then cross-reference both locations. To cut down on your paper files and create electronic backups, scan your documents and photos. Use the same folder structure that you use for the paper ones. And use a naming convention that is standard throughout. We talk about naming conventions in our photos for genealogy class. And finally, establish an organizing routine so it becomes second nature. To help remember the routine, create and post a daily routine checklist. Eventually, you won't have to refer to it. I have laminated them in the past. For example, use an inbox for items you need to take action on. Scan, label, number, research, then recycle, those kinds of things. A rule of thumb is to not touch the same piece of paper more than twice. Make a decision and mark it with a sticky. Consider using a second inbox just for papers and photos to file. Which brings us to the second checklist just for the weekly tasks like these. Your monthly checklist can include these kinds of tasks. Spend a specific amount of time on routine tasks with a timer, like 10 or 15 minutes, and simply work on it until it rings. Eventually, you can do it in your sleep. You might even get Alexa to tell you when the time's up. It's hashtag Filing Friday again. If it's got a hashtag, it's a thing, even if you're not motivated to do it. Remember W. Edwards, who helped Japan with proven successes and processes? He knew it was hard to establish a new routine, so he also created the Deming Cycle. How can you continually improve if you can't change your process? Start with step 1, plan to reach your goals. Remember, SMART goals? But too much upfront planning increases project risk. Don't overdo it. Once you plan, then implement the change. Don't keep planning until you think it's perfect. It won't be. Just do it. Then in step 3, check, audit, and compare and see how you can improve the process. In step 4, act to make the improvements. Easy, right? Plan, do, check, act. However, there are 2 other considerations. One is to know you can only make incremental improvements, just little ones, but keep making them over time to make it much better. The other consideration is to know no one wants to change. You will push back. It's like rolling a big rock uphill. So it's important to put a wedge in there so you don't roll back downhill. Congratulate yourself on reaching a mini goal. Know that this is the new normal, then get back up on the horse to keep improving. For example, in my efforts to improve after my stroke 2 years ago, I have to tell you, sometimes I don't want to do it. I don't want to do any of the physical training. I don't want to do any of it. But then I remember that I have improved and I want to keep that progress going. So I might take a week off, but I get right back up on the horse again and do it. As an engineer said on one of those short videos I'm addicted to, they're always training videos, by the way. I never claim to have all the answers, but I know the process to get all the answers. And that's trying and failing and tweaking over and over again. Yep.